This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, a Dunedin apiarist has been called in to tackle a wild inner-city beehive, taking away the swarm and only receiving a few stings. Dunedin's Mayor Shoes is putting their best feet forward to get designs to the public despite COVID shipping delays. And backers of a Central Otago horticulture venture are happy to get funding to help with paperwork. Tēnā koutou katoa, kia ora, I'm Simon Anderson. A swarm of loose bees turned up in some shrubbery over Dunedin Park alongside State Highway 1 yesterday. A beekeeper who collected the swarm says it's not unusual to see large groups of thousands of bees in springtime looking for a new home.
It only takes one deft move for Dunedin Bee Club member Graham Parmenter to shake this wild swarm of bees into a cardboard box. The bee swarm was spotted in the Queen's Gardens and probably came from a hive not very far away.
This time of year is when the hives tend to propagate, so if they've got a lot of bees in the hive, they'll make extra queens and they'll fly off with half of the hive sometimes. It can be quite a loss to a beekeeper if a young queen goes off with half of the workers.
Parmenter says swarming bees aren't very likely to sting.
They're generally pretty placid when they're swarming. They're full of honey and they tend not to be aggressive.
The total swarm consists of about 2,000 or 3,000 bees plus a young queen, and Parmenter's intending to rehome them and see if the queen is actually fertile and able to keep the hive going. In Dunedin, The South Today.
Tomorrow is Armistice Day, but public commemorations won't be taking place tomorrow due to COVID-19 crowd restrictions. Instead, this year's Armistice Day service will be held online and also broadcast on local television. The decision was made by the Dunedin City Council in partnership with the local RSA. They've worked together with Allied Productions to produce a special half-hour service to remember those who served in World War I and those who have served since. Armistice Day convener Rob Tomlinson says there will be a small ceremony at the cenotaph, but he asks people to stay away.
Well, tomorrow there will be a small wreath laying by the Dunedin RSA President, Mr Bob Barlin, and also Mr Benson Pope, for the representative for the Mayor, plus a small contingent of military that will be just raising and lowering the flags. But we do ask that the public do not come down and attend. Watch it live on Channel 39.
Lieutenant William Atkinson is the Director of Ceremonies for the event. The service will include footage from last year's service, from the firing of the 25-pound gun to 2 minutes silence. This year's commemoration is the 103rd anniversary of the signing of the armistice, which ended World War I. It's the first time a public event hasn't been held in Dunedin to mark the day. The Armistice Day service will screen on Channel 39 at 11 a.m. on Thursday, and a link to the online event will be held available at odt.co.nz. Dunedin shoe designer and creator Glenn Mayer is a local success story, having slowly expanded his business to now boast 7 stores across the country. He has plans to expand internationally, but admits the global COVID-19 pandemic is making it tough to stock shelves quickly.
Dunedin businessman Glenn Mayer is trying to put his best foot forward, despite challenging global freight delays due to COVID-19.
We've got hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting on containers which we can't get into the store to recoup our money with. Our best-selling range, which again was supposed to be here before October, might arrive by the end of next week, and that's just in time for everything to go on sale. So it is very, very difficult.
The business began in 2008 with a pop-up shop in Christchurch. There are now 7 stores around the country, employing more than 30 staff. While Mayer is pleased to have a loyal customer base, he says the 3-month Auckland lockdown has had an impact. However, he's looking at the shoe half full.
But look, if you don't take the negative and you just keep on top of stuff and keep a positive outlook, you make your way through, and that's no difference with the summer stock being late.
The Maya brand initially only made shoes for men, but demand from women soon persuaded the business to accommodate them as well a few years later. The decision to start with men's shoes was due to a perceived gap in the market.
14 years ago it was pretty, average, or your choices were limited, so that's why if you could have a great pair of shoes, you were able to give yourself a bit of personality. It became obvious very quickly that many people shared the same thing.
Like many others, the global COVID situation has taken its toll on the business. But Maya's still looking to the future, stepping up plans to push the Kiwi brand overseas.
Yes, so we've launched in America. It's called Maya USA, and it's an online operation. We've got a partner over there. We've had our first 2 lots go over there, and it's going very successfully.
Aucklanders will be allowed to shop in retail stores again from tomorrow, which is expected to be a positive boost for the domestic market. In the South Island, Maya has stores in Dunedin's Wall Street Mall and at Riccarton Mall in Christchurch. In Dunedin, the South Today.
The Otago Regional Council is discussing how to improve the environmental and amenity values of the region's freshwater lakes. Regional councillors set aside $200,000 back in May to establish a strategic plan to protect Otago's lakes. But council staff have expressed concern that adding new orders to plans already in place might create confusion and uncertainty around lake management. They've recommended the council hire a consultant to make sure there is actual value in creating a whole new plan. Lake management includes the issue of addressing invasive species such as the aquatic weed Ligurosiphon. Wanaka's community gardens have received a small funding boost to help with paperwork. The money will help pay for resource consent for work required for the project's large-scale worm farm.
Emberly Weatherall and Julia Greeks enjoying a sunny day at Wanaka's community gardens. The area is designed to let locals grow their own vegetables, helping increase the food resilience in the community. The group behind the initiative is Grow Wanaka, who have a large worm farm as one of their main projects.
Plan is to begin collecting food scraps from our urban centre, bringing them down to compost them, and then the compost will go on to grow organic veggies in the garden.
Because the worm farm uses quite a lot of refuse, an environmental consent is required for the development. To help the group out, the Otago Regional Council is assisting with a grant of about $2,000 to help with their paperwork.
We got the grant because we require resource consent to do the composting and worm farming on site here.
The grant is one of a number coming from a new $50,000 fund which was introduced in the ORC's long-term plan. The aim of the fund is to support groups across the Otago region with projects that enhance the environment. In Wanaka, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, we see how unwanted weeds may have their uses, and we hear how COVID-19 has affected the SPCA. See you soon.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
I think the best thing about it is we're all there to ride safely and deliver that message to, some of the kids that are out there, hopefully showcase that riders and drivers can integrate together. So yeah, it's just being part of sharing that message really of riding safely when you're out on the road.
Nā mai anō, welcome back. The salaries and spending of the mayors in the Southland region have been revealed. Mayors across the three councils have spent more than $130,000 since the last local body elections. That includes domestic travels to conferences, vehicle costs and gifts. Southland Mayor Gary Tong topped the list, spending just over $56,000. He says that was within reason, considering the large area he represents, but has no issues with justifying his council-related spending. Invercargill Mayor Sir Tim Shadbolt earns the most of the Southland mayors, while Gore Mayor Tracy Hicks spent the least of the trio. If your garden is covered with unwanted weeds, you might be surprised to learn some of them have medicinal properties. Medicinal herbalist Stephen Parker says many weeds actually contain ingredients for a wide range of potions, lotions and herbal remedies.
They may look like weeds to some, but for medicinal herbalist Stephen Parker, they are a treasure trove of remedies.
I got malaria on one of my first trips to Indonesia and went to see a naturopath, and they told me to have some dandelion root for my liver and some red clover for my blood, and it seemed to work pretty well. So then I went and studied herbalism at the Canterbury College of Natural Medicine in the late 1990s.
He creates plant-based potions for a wide range of uses. Otago had an abundance of plants that could be collected.
Then you've got all the things in the garden. You've got like dandelions, chickweeds, puha, cleavers. You've just got so much. You've got all the pines, Douglas fir. I've actually been really enjoying Douglas fir tea this year. And then when we head further into central Otago, then we've got like St John's wort, amazing thyme, California poppy, horehound.
Plants have been used as medicine for tens of thousands of years.
They found the remains of a Nathanderol, and on his teeth were traces of yarrow and chamomile. So we've been using medicinal plants for a long, long time, and it is the original medicine, the traditional medicine.
Experience is key before using plant-based medicine.
You could easily pick a hemlock instead of picking a yarrow, or pick a foxglove instead of picking a comfrey. So like positive identification is definitely key. That's to start off with, and it's good to go out with other people that know, or sort of I run medicinal plant walks and sort of show people sort of how to identify plants.
In Dunedin for the South Today.
The COVID-19 pandemic has had an impact on most aspects of daily life. The Otago SPCA says COVID restrictions meant fewer cats were de-sexed around lockdown, and they're anticipating a real boom in kitten numbers this Christmas.
These little furballs could be the beginning of a wave of kittens being born this summer.
Actually, there's quite a lot more kittens this year, and we're expecting a busy kitten season because people weren't able to get cats de-sexed last year.
And unfortunately, it's not the only issue which has been exacerbated by stresses brought about by COVID-19. Otago SPCA Centre Manager Ellen Andrews says they're still having to rescue animals from abusive homes.
COVID has changed the way that we do things hugely. It hasn't changed the amount of animal cruelty cases, unfortunately.
While there are paid staff at the SPCA, there is also a lot of jobs carried out by volunteers. During the academic year, many students take time out from their studies to help. Their absence very noticeable when they leave the city after exams.
Absolutely everything. So they do cleaning, they do enrichment, so hanging out with the animals, working on behavioural skills, feeding, monitoring, everything.
The team at the SPCA are keen to hear from anyone willing to help with either adopting kittens or helping out with their animals. In Dunedin, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, the Addington Cup is back with changes thanks to COVID, and we bring you the weather for the end of the working week. Hea koko ake nei.
Just plan your route a little bit, choose nice and quiet roads. In the winter it's always nice to ride north and south, that way you get the driest route and less likely to hit black ice.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Hi, my name's Matt and I'm the Dines Group CEO. Dines is a company that's focused on selling logistics solutions to its customers. We're passionate about selling efficiency, and we've been selling efficiency for over 50 years now.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hoki mai anō. The biggest party of the year in Christchurch went ahead at Addington Raceway despite a lack of spectators. COVID-19 restrictions meant Cup Day was limited to a group of only 1,200 members, owners, trainers and sponsors. The lucky few who got to join in this year's scaled-down event were confined to different bubbles, each corresponding to a coloured wristband. Bars around the city opened their doors early, with many laying on champagne breakfasts. Races were played on big screens to allow people to enjoy the day in a safely distanced way. The New Zealand Trotting Cup Day is the first of the Addington Cup Week events. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. A Dunedin apiarist has been called in to tackle a wild inner-city beehive, taking away the swarm and only receiving a few stings. Dunedin's Mayor shoes are putting their best feet forward to get designs to the public despite COVID delaying international shipping. And the backers of a Central Otago horticulture venture are happy to get funding to help with paperwork for a large worm farm. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, we welcome Associate Editor Joe Simpson. Kia ora, Joe.
Hi. We have an exclusive story on how some locals have worked out a way to avoid MIQ.
Oh, right.
A Central Otago Medical Centre has been rocked with a long-term doctor and another staff member quitting after refusing to be vaccinated. A cold case episode featuring the disappearance of a 34-year-old Dunedin mechanic, Timothy Pridding, who vanished without a trace in 1994, has prompted an influx of tips for local police.
Thanks, Joan.
Thank you.
And time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, the cranes are sleeping at the site of Dunedin's new hospital. Looking at the situation, rain will start developing in western areas tomorrow before spreading elsewhere on Friday. We can expect a quite warm few days as the northerly airflow increases. And we see that rain as we head to the northwest of the island. Still warm though, Westport on 18, Greymouth on 20 degrees. At the top of the island, while there's rain in Nelson too on 17, Blenheim escapes with only partial cloud on 21 degrees. And partial cloud right down the Canterbury coast as well, 17 for Kaikoura and Christchurch, Ashburton reaching 19. Heading to the southern towns along the coast, Catlins can expect fresh northeasterlies with cloudy skies and a high of 18. Further inland, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gora all in for moderate northerlies with cloud increasing and a high of 22 degrees. To the Central Lakes, Wanaka, Queenstown and Alexandra can all expect moderate northerlies with some high cloud and highs of 23 or 24 degrees. While it's wet in Te Anau, rain along with fresh northerlies and a high of 18. Further north, along the coast, Timaru can expect light easterlies with some high cloud and a high of 19 degrees, while the wind is more moderate in Oamaru, tending northeast. Cloud for you too and a high of 18. And it's fine inland, just some light northerlies and high cloud breaking up the day for Twizel and Omarama, reaching 23 degrees. In Dunedin tonight, it's fine with just some cloud and an overnight low of 11 degrees. That cloud thickens tomorrow as northeasterly winds become fresh to strong later in the day, a high of 17 and a low of 11. It's warm to end the week though, reaching 24 degrees. Light rain brings some respite, carried by moderate northerly quarter winds, a low of 13 degrees. And in Invercargill, cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 10. You can expect sunny periods and high cloud tomorrow with warmer northerly slowly freshening, a high of 23 and a low of 13. But more cloud on Friday with periods of rain and fresh gusty northerly winds, a high of 20 and a low of 13 degrees. And that's the news this Wednesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and you can follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe to be notified of that southern news as it happens. Nō reira kia pai te pō, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.